Hmm. I think live streaming is happening somehow. My internet is not. Okay, so Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. So we welcome you for today's Throwback Thursday program organized by Iskcon Seshadripuram. And today with us we have a very special guest, Her Grace Jalangi Radha Mataji. So before starting, I'll give a quick intro about Mataji. So Mataji is basically from China, and like Mataji got connected to Krishna consciousness in 1998. And I have met many devotees, but Mataji is the one who has done, Bhakti Vedanta course. Like Guru Maharaj, you might have seen Guru Maharaj keeps encouraging devotees to do Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Sarvabhaum, and Guru Maharaj himself is doing. He's not just accepting the degree; he's himself giving exams. And Mataji has done Bhakti Vedanta. So it's a great fortune that we have association of Mataji today. And Mataji is also, preaching in Chinese language, Bhakti Shastri for Chinese devotees, Chinese speaking devotees. And apart from that, Mataji is also involved in, deity services in Mayapur, Iskcon Mayapur, and she especially takes care of, jewellery of Sri Panchtattva. So it's a great fortune that we have Mataji with us today to give her association. So we would like to welcome Mataji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Panchang Pranam Mataji, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. All the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. I'm very happy to get this opportunity to purify myself by glorifying our beloved Srila Guru Maharaj. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Inti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nita Kripa Padayane Gaura Katha Damadaya Nagargramadharine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Inti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prachadi Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Mukhaṁ karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, since my main service for Guru Maharaj is as translator, so I would like to share some of my notes for all these years. Actually, recently, maybe we all noticed that Guru Maharaj is very much emphasizing the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's books. And almost every day, he would send an app message and saying how he was reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and he's encouraging all of us to read Srila Prabhupada's books. So I would like to give everyone a little background about reading the books. Since many years ago, I was in Mayapur. I started to translate the morning Bhagavatam class for the Chinese devotees. So I got some notes. And in 2014, November 19th, there is a book marathon inauguration. At that time, His Grace Jananivas Prabhu, he said something very amazing. So I would like to use Prabhu's words to reveal that why we have to follow Guru Maharaj's order to read Srila Prabhupada's books. At that time, Prabhu said, Gangadhar Bhattacharya has a strong desire to have a son. And his wife asked him, you never had this desire before. Why now? But then Gangadhar Bhattacharya, he said, let's go to Jagannath Puri and take blessings from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu told him, Lord Jagannath would fulfill all your desires. So Mahaprabhu told Govinda, Gangadhar will have a son, and the name will be Srinivasa Acharya. And he is the embodiment of my prema. I send Rupa and Sanatan to Vrindavan to write books, and Srinivas is going to distribute books. So how wonderful that love of Godhead is a book distributor. So that means love of Godhead is a book distributor. And what is distributing is also distributing the love for Krishna, Krishna Prema. So when we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we can deeply feel that love for Krishna. And today my main focus is to talk about from the emotional side, how can we connect ourselves to Guru Maharaj? Because as we know, all over the world, Guru Maharaj is more than 70,000 disciples. Not everyone can get the chance to have Vapu Seva. And the most tangible way for most of us as his disciples is to perform Vani Seva for him. And this is one of the most important Vani Seva for us, to listen to his instructions and to read Srila Prabhupada's books. Even back in 2013, January 29th, Guru Maharaj is giving class in Sridham Mayapur. At that time, he's emphasizing, how can we miss Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy? And he said, if someone is asking if we get initiation, but we didn't continue to chant 16 rounds, and we couldn't follow the 4 regulative principles, this kind of devotee, what kind of future they can have? And that at that time, Guru Maharaj in 2013, he said, according to Bhagavad Gita, he would go to the heaven and he can enjoy for many years. And then he can take birth on the earth and continue his devotional service. But someone would feel this is also nice. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's golden age is only 10,000 years. And after that, the rest days of the Kali Yuga is very, very dark. And you enjoy it like anything in the heavenly planets. And then you take birth at the last stage of Kali Yuga. It's really not a good thing. Maybe someone's thinking, I can stay in the heavenly planets for more, maybe 100,000 years, 200,000 years. Then I can take birth to the next age. But then you would completely miss the 10,000 golden age of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you cannot even participate in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So in that class, Guru Maharaj is emphasizing the importance of reading Bhagavad Gita. According to Bhagavad Gita, we have this kind of understanding. And then I would like to quote in 2015, November 23. All these things happened more than 10 years ago. But we can see from that time, we can see that Guru Maharaj's heart is always emphasizing giving education to the devotees, giving classes, and he's helping us to read Srila Prabhupada's books. In November 23rd, 2015, Guru Maharaj is giving a class. And at the end of the class, he asks everyone, which one is more important? That day, Guru Maharaj is very, very sick. And all of us feel that. But still, he insisted to give the class. And he asked us, do you want me to theoretically sleep more, or I should become more happy? Actually, he's indicating he goes to the prasadam hall to see the devotees following Bishma Panchad, gives him more happiness. And by giving the devotees classes, and he's feeling more happiness. When Guru Maharaj is asking this question, almost all the devotees raise their hands to support. They like to see him more happy. So he can go to the hall to participate in Bishma Panchad and also coming back in the late evening and giving classes. And even after giving classes, he would give by his own lotus hand one laddu by another laddu to each devotee on the lotus roof. Almost all the devotees raised their hands. But then Guru Maharaj asked, who thinks it is not important? Only Guru Maharaj's chief secretary, Mahaprabhu, raised his hand because he wants him to sleep more. And then Vedwan Gauranga Prabhu, he mentioned, actually, that day, in 2015, November 23rd, Guru Maharaj took his lunch at 5:30 p.m. in the afternoon. We can imagine how tired he was, but still he insisted to give us class. Actually, recently we know that Guru Maharaj was reading Nectar of Devotion. And in this Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned there are altogether 64 items of devotional service. And the first 20 is most important. The first 20 is like the door of bhakti. And among the first 20, the first 10 item is talking about what we should do. And from 11 to 20 is talking about what we shouldn't do. And the first item is we have to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. So the first item is Guru Padashraya. This is the most important one. It is mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami. He said, if we consider the first 20 as a door to bhakti, and this first item, taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, this is like the door of all doors. By this one door, you can open the rest 63 items of sadhana bhakti. This is how important to take shelter of a spiritual master. But then after we take the shelter of the spiritual master, we need to accept his initiation and receiving instructions from him. This is the second item. And then the third item is serving the spiritual master with faith and confidence. I would like to elaborate on this point a little bit more. So we accept initiation from the spiritual master. What does it mean? Srila Rupa Goswami mentioned in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he said, initiation means you have to perform devotional service with purity and without any selfishness. Maybe before we are thinking, okay, I want to take initiation, and it's a kind of sign of making advancement. Or some people maybe even thinking, oh, that's a guaranteed I can go back to the spiritual world or something else. We have our own speculations. But actually, to get initiation from a bona fide spiritual master means we have to perform our devotional service with purity and to get rid of our selfishness. I remember in so many occasions, Guru Maharaj mentioned in his initiation address, he said, now you are getting initiation. So from now, you have to do everything for Krishna, not for yourself. And in order to guarantee this purity, we have to serve the lotus feet of our spiritual master. We have to perform this service. And Srila Rupa Goswami said an acharya should be accepted as the Lord himself. And even actually in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada also mentioned in one purport that if we are seeing the pure devotees, if we are seeing the Lord's Vaishnava devotees, it is like we are seeing the Lord himself directly. That means when we are seeing our spiritual master, that means we are seeing Krishna directly. And by following his instructions, we are following the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But oftentimes we are not feeling that connection. Why is like that? We have to analyze this also from the viewpoint of Nectar of Devotion. Because Srila Prabhupada mentioned, he said, actually, the Nectar of Devotion is a transcendental psychology. If we want to analyze our mental faculties, how our mind is working, how our brain is thinking, this and that, how our emotional is reacting and working, we need some transcendental psychological knowledge. And I believe, because a lot of devotees, they have been asking me why I'm not feeling that connection. I'm also chanting my rounds, I'm reading the books, I'm also following all the 4 regulative principles, but why I'm not feeling that connection? So we have to start to analyze from the very beginning. We have to find out why we are suffering. We are suffering because of 3 reasons. We are suffering because of our sinful activities. But where this sinful activity comes from? The sinful activity comes from the sinful idea. And where this sinful idea coming from? The sinful idea coming from ignorance. So our suffering, the cause of our suffering has 3-fold reasons. And ignorance, this is the most fundamental one. This is avidya, because we are ignorant. And then we have bijam, we have sinful desires. And these sinful desires would brace some sinful activities. So we have to perform some kappa. And we know that according to the nectar of devotion, after we performed some sinful activities, we have to suffer. And we are suffering has four folds. So we have aparabdha karma. We cannot even feel it. After performing some kind of sinful activity, when we get this aparabdha karma, we cannot even feel what kind of bad influence. I just did what I want. This is okay. But this is an underlying suffering for future lives. It may manifest in next life or maybe after 100 lifetimes. And another fold is kutam. It's kind of a sinful inclination. Then it will evolve into bijam, the seed of sinful desires. It may manifest in the next life, like you are born as an unhonest person and you have this cheating propensity. And then you would steal, you would go and you would suffer more sinful reactions. So the last fold among these four folds is prarabdha karma, that is matured. That is also called the commenced, means already started result of your sinful activities. And usually we would pay attention to our physical sufferings. That means whatever we are suffering by our gross body, we will be thinking, okay, I am born in a very poor family, or I'm not educated. I didn't get a lot of chance to pursue my education, or I have some other sufferings. So we are always thinking about from the bodily perception. But there's another kind of subtle suffering also accompanying the soul. That is from the emotional level. Why we are not feeling the connection? Now we are going to talk about the focus. Why we're not feeling the focus? Because psychologically, by birth and birth accumulated karma. Actually, Srila Rupa Goswami said, what constitutes the knot in your heart? What constitutes your false ego? It's only the impressions of karmas, life after life. We have been accumulating different kinds of impressions. All these things constitute the heart knot, Hridaya Granthi in our heart. And then we would form a certain habit, a certain kind of, according to modern psychological terms, it's like default mode network. And by this default mode of network, we will do whatever we would do. We would react. Something happened, we would react. For example, if someone's criticizing us, and then we are feeling, oh, I'm so angry. I am so sad. And immediately we want to run. We want to avoid this. Or maybe some pressure is coming, and then we are thinking, I have to avoid this. We have all these instinct reactions to things happening on us because we have this kind of a default mode networking. And that's why we have so much deep samskar on our subtle body, and we have to suffer from this emotional level. And when we want to reconnect with our spiritual master, we also have to work on removing all these kind of coverings. And what we can do to remove all these kinds of sufferings, we have to do very hard, because unless we reach the level of bhava, that actually bhava is also called rati. That is, by Bhaktivinoda Thakur's definition, this is the smallest indivisible unit of love of Godhead. Unless we reach this level, actually we cannot really connect with Godhead. We cannot really feel the connection with Krishna. Also, we cannot really feel the connection with our spiritual master. And maybe some devotees would ask, no, whatever you said is not true. Sometimes I do feel the connection. I would cry. I would feel in my heart is the ocean is roaring, something like that. Yes, But that is only a temporary. It's not constant. You're not constantly connected. Sometimes by some special mercy. Maybe we got some special sangha by senior devotees. Maybe we are getting some special mercy from Guru Maharaj. At that time, we feel something. But most of the time, we feel we are isolated. We are not connected. Because we have so many contaminations in our hearts. And we have to work very hard to achieve this minimum unit of indivisible unit of love of Godhead. But how can we reach Baba? We have to start from Shraddha. We have to start from that faith. And then we have faith, we have sadhu sangha. We start to associate with devotees. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned that when we start to associate with the devotees have that kind of special emotion. And that kind of special emotion, that raga, the attraction, can become contagious. And we're become like spiritually not contaminated, but we're influenced by those devotees. And therefore, we also start to develop our attraction. Then we start to do bhajana kriya. And during the stage of bhajana kriya, we would accept initiation from the spiritual master, from a real bona fide guru, from the disciplic succession. And then we start to work on anartha nivritti. We have to remove all the unwanted thoughts and also the unwanted habits. And in Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned that when you start to perform sadhana bhakti, and there are 3 levels. And when you start from the first level, unless you can reach the stage that you have get rid of all the anarthas, otherwise you cannot feel the happiness of the first stage, the characteristics of pure devotional service. That is Kleshagni and Subhada. Kleshagni means the relief from all kinds of material miseries. Klesha means miseries, the pains. Gni means kill, to get rid of, to destroy. So Kleshagni means we can feel the relief. We are free from all the material sufferings. And then we feel Subhada. Subhada means all auspiciousness. And there are 4 kinds of things can constitute Subhada. And that means something, we can do something that is beneficial for everyone. And because of this, everyone would be automatically attracted to us. And then whatever we are doing can make all the good qualities manifest. And when we make all the good qualities manifest, and we would feel super excellent happiness. So this is like step one step. And we can see from Guru Maharaj, he has all these characteristics. And not only he has the characteristics from the sadhana bhakti, he also shows the characteristics of bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. And according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we have to at least to reach bhava to feel that connection. Why? Because in bhava, we are connected with the Lord's Chit Shakti. Although usually we would say, oh, Krishna has Satchit Ananda Vigraha. And this Chit Shakti actually is composed of 2 aspects. One aspect is this cognizance ability, and the other aspect is actually Haladini Shakti. Unless we gain enough knowledge to get rid of our ignorance, and then we can be connected with the Haladini Shakti, the internal pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Otherwise, we cannot feel this connection. It's very hard. And how can we cultivate this? So we have to perform some extraordinary sadhanas. We have to intensify our sadhanas, where we must intensify our devotional service. Since it's a class of sharing some experiences, I want to share. I have a team. We're working for Guru Maharaj's daily app service, and I don't know if you remember or not. A few years back, during the COVID time, Guru Maharaj is also confined in this room, but he would send every day maybe 70 or 80 messages. So our team of working for these daily messages, they are also working the whole day. I don't know actually how Guru Maharaj managed. He do one thing on the internet. He did a Zoom visit or given class, and he would send a message. We just translate the message. We need 10 person to work for the whole day, and Guru Maharaj only one person. Just imagine what kind of superpower Guru Maharaj has. And I have one translator. She's very, very diligent. And she told me one day she was translating, and she was so tired. So she was lying on the bed and holding her mobile like this position. She was just so tired, and she just fallen to sleep, and the mobile just mashed her forehead. But then she had a dream. She dreamed that she was traveling with Guru Maharaj for all those places Guru Maharaj had been. And after a few years, her dream came true. She really got the chance to travel with Guru Maharaj, all over India at least, for a whole month. And when I'm serving for translating Guru Maharaj's classes, I also had some experiences. I want to share one because for this one, I have more than 10 Chinese devotees can become my Shakshi. They witnessed this whole thing. So I always have this desire that whatever Guru Maharaj said, I must translate. And one time we're going to perform this Navdeep Mandal Parikrama. I think it's 2022. And one day we are going to Nishinghapoli. And when we reach the Nishinghapoli, as all the devotees understand, there are a lot of devotees participating in the parikrama, and they don't give any special privilege to the translators. You have to make your own way. You have to squeeze inside and find a place. And in that year, it happened that Nishinghapoli is renovating, and they found a nearby Gaudiya Math to give class. So when I reached that place, the full hall of Gaudiya Math is fully packed with all the international devotees. I cannot even find any way to squeeze inside, to push myself inside. And I could hear the sound of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I'm so much worried. I'm thinking, after Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and then they would broadcast the Guru Maharaj's message. How can I translate? I am almost like jumping outside. But suddenly my mobile starts to vibrate. And all the devotees around me more
Hare Krishna. Is it my network or Mataji's network? Different.
We are
Mataji's
not able to
network.
see anything. Yeah, we are not able to see anything.
Okay, till the time Mataji is back, we can chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Okay, Mataji is back. I think there's a power.
Sure, I'm back. Suddenly low sitting. So at that moment, actually, I didn't touch my mobile, I didn't do anything. But I heard Guru Maharaj's voice.
Janala.
As soon as I heard Guru Maharaj's voice, I just realized that Guru Maharaj is talking the glories of this particular place in the Singapore. I was so much surprised. I immediately called all the Chinese devotees to come nearby and started to translate. So Guru Maharaj's voice message lasted for about 5 minutes. And after the translation, I completed translating Guru Maharaj's message. And then I heard that inside the hall, they start to play Guru Maharaj's voice message. It's really like a miracle. All the Chinese devotees around me feel so much amazed because all of them, they are also feeling the urgency. They have such a kind of urgent desire. They want to hear from Guru Maharaj, and they couldn't come inside. So if we really have a desire, we can become connected. And it doesn't matter maybe we have some material obstacles. Our faith can transcend all those material obstacles. And I would like to continue. Actually, by the way, if you have any questions, please send them in the chat box, or at the end, I will leave some time for everyone to ask. And I would like to share another episode from my notes. I want to share that in 2021, June 8th, and that day, Guru Maharaj also giving class. And according to my note, tonight Guru Maharaj is so personal and so merciful. And the servant says, gallery view. Because Guru Maharaj, after his giving Zoom class, he wants to visit each devotee, to every devotee's house. But then the servant said, no, we cannot do this because this is going to take a long time. We just have a gallery view. So it can save some time. And even in chat box, all the devotees online, they are saying, okay, we do gallery view. And finally, Mahavara Prabhu said, okay, it's already over 10 p.m. So we should do vancha. We should do vancha kapatruvyascha. We know as soon as they say vancha, and that means the end of the class. But somehow or other, Guru Maharaj, although whole day he has meetings from 7:30 to 9 p.m. and he's extremely tired. And I want to point out that usually when we are tired, excuse me, when we are feeling completely exhausted, we would show the worst side of ourselves. We would become impatient. We would become anxious, and we're easily getting agitated. But amazingly, Guru Maharaj, completely exhausted, but he's showing his best part, full of love and affection towards all the devotees online. And that day he had TOVP meetings up to 9 o'clock and then the class. And still he insisted to visit each devotee one by one in Zoom. And he doesn't care. So this is 2021, June 8th. And now let's move to 1 week after 2021, June 15th. That day, according to my note, up to the 50s, 50s, that message, already before 49 messages passed, up to 50th message, it is mentioned, Guru Maharaj had a GBC subcommittee meeting from 5 to 7 p.m. IST. And then message 51, mentioning that then starting from 7 o'clock up to 9:40 p.m. IST, Guru Maharaj had TOVPE meeting. This TOVPE meeting means Guru Maharaj is discussing with all the devotees about how to build the museum for TOVP, the exhibition of TOVP. And after 9:40, he starts class for Chaitanya Charitamrita over 10 o'clock, over 10 p.m. But just before the class, Guru Maharaj started a very ecstatic kirtan. And you cannot feel that continuously for hours and hours he has been in the meeting. And he just showing us his mood is very blissful. And then the next day, Guru Maharaj is giving darshan again to all the devotees. And again, his servants is reminding him, please end the class a little early, but he refused. I have many, because I mentioned all the dates. That's why I can quote, so you can believe I have all the dates with me. And 2 years back, 2023, November 25th, this is in Kartik month. This is Bishma Panchad, day 3. Tonight, Guru Maharaj was coughing very much. And Vishwambara Prabhu, one of Guru Maharaj's servants, he brought 2 small pieces of ginger, and Guru Maharaj looked at them, saying, "It's root, so I can take." So Guru Maharaj is very conscious of what is happening all the time. Hare Krishna, thank you. My Prabhu kept coming back from temple. I share this garland to all of you. Please accept these greetings and blessings coming from Sridham Mayapur. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So Guru Maharaj is very conscious what is happening all the time. And tonight he spoke 52, 53, 54, 55, 4 verses. And Mahavaraha Prabhu appeared with a concerned face at the door place. So behind it is, the front side is the glass wall, and the behind is the door. We can see that Mahavaraha Prabhu with a very, very serious face. He appeared there. And Srivas Prem Prabhu reminded Guru Maharaj something. Must be, now you should stop the class and take rest. Something like that. But suddenly I saw Guru Maharaj's face, seemed very angry, and he loudly said, "I don't hear it." It's so interesting. Guru Maharaj used the present tense. He said, "I don't hear it." Means he doesn't want to hear that. And even if he said, "I don't hear it. I'm not going to listen to you." And then he insisted to come back again for questions. So he went to the bathroom for a little while, and then he came back for questions. But that day he's a little disappointed because nobody asked any relevant questions. And Guru Maharaj is asking, but nobody asked. And then he commented, if they ask any question, and then people's mind would be diverted. And today it is mentioned again and again, the importance of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet, and how much mercy we can get from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Hare Krishna. So I shared something from the past. And recently, in last year, 2024, in February 6th, and today morning, that day Guru Maharaj is giving a morning class, Bhagavatam class, and he said, Guru Maharaj mentioned we are all like a fish caught by the net of Maya, and we are flipping, we are wriggling, unless Krishna sets us free. We cannot get free. Hi Krishna, let me see. I think 3 messages in the chat box. Oh, it's not a question. Alankrita Sudevi Mataji said, Hare Krishna Mataji. Oh, I didn't understand the Narsingha Pali pastime due to network issue in middle. If possible, can you please repeat? Okay. I would repeat very briefly. Narsingha Pali pastime, I cannot get inside. I don't have the facility to hear the teams broadcasting, the Navdiv Mandal Parikram team's official broadcasting of Guru Maharaj's talk about the pastimes happening in that place. But somehow or other, my mobile just automatically, without I'm doing anything, start to broadcast Guru Maharaj's lotus voice. It's just talking about the Nrsimha Pali pastime. And after my mobile broadcasting completed, and my translation to all the other Chinese devotees completed, then I heard inside the hall that Guru Maharaj's voice just started. So it's like a special mercy. Hare Krishna. Some kind of special mercy. If we really want to connect, we can connect. As you know that Akshaya Gaurasundar Prabhu introduced in the beginning that I'm teaching Chinese devotees Bhakti Sastri. So when I'm teaching Bhakti Sastri, I also, whenever possible, I share Guru Maharaj's messages and pastimes. And a lot of my students are Guru Maharaj's disciples. And they could feel that change. Why they could change? Because of knowledge. Knowledge can remove this avidya, can remove this ignorance. Why? According to the modern psychological science, there's a term called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means we can remold the way of thinking. Like before, during life after lives of this karma, this past vasanas or impressions or samskar, we have certain habit to react in a certain circumstances. Something happened, we react like this out of our instinct. But we have been already following the same way of karma, life after life, and we are still bound by this birth and death, by the threefold burning miseries of this material world. And if we do something, we change the pathways of our thinking. So we can even change our emotional from the mundane emotion to this transcendental emotion. And in this way, we can feel that connection. Before we are not connected. Now we feel connected. I can give everyone one example. I have one student, she's Guru Maharaj's disciple, and her son was very, very sick. So, but there's nothing she can do. Every day she went to the hospital and seeing her son lifeless in an unconscious state of condition, just lying on the bed. And the life is slowly, slowly leaving his body. And she was feeling so sad, so sad. When she was sharing this recently in her class, she was crying like anything. But then one day she said, she just suddenly got a realization. She realized by going there to the hospital every day and staying most of the time there, she cannot help her son. At the same time, she would neglect her sadhana's. So one particular day when she got this realization, she was just about to move her steps towards outside of the room to go to the hospital or move back, coming to the room, chant more, and perform arti for Krishna. And finally, she said she chose to come back. She did one arti, and she chant, and she reads books, and she was doing more of the sadhanas. And she said that one gave her strength and gave her faith, and she feel connected with Guru Maharaj. And then finally, after some time, her son left his body. She said, this is the real thing that can help her to get over all this very traumatic time, the great challenges. She thought maybe she would also die with her son because she has no other relatives, only her husband and herself and the son. So the son is like all their hope. And the son also providing a lot of financial support to the family, and now she lost everything. How can she tolerate? She's tolerating by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. By this book, she removed her ignorance. By this book, she understands whatever happens, she should not just react. She has to think and then act. And I don't know if all of you noticed one thing or not. Did you notice Guru Maharaj's mood and Guru Maharaj's emotions and Guru Maharaj's psychological activities? What kind of suffering he's experiencing? What kind of challenges he's experiencing for all these years? Does he has any kind of challenges coming from the peer devotees, from the DBCs? Is that nobody ever want to attack him verbally or even physically? And maybe someone's jealous of whatever he achieved. But we never see Guru Maharaj become despondent. We never see Guru Maharaj feeling like depressed. So this is also something I would like to share with all of you. In Srila Prabhupada's books, in the Nectar Devotion, it is also mentioned among the 10 items from 11 to 20, there are 10 items saying that is something called nishad. It means prohibitions we should avoid. We should avoid what? We should avoid extreme emotions. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, he's talking like that in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.114. He said, not feeling miserable and not performing degrading acts in distressing circumstances. And this point is also illustrated in Padma Purana. Let us read it again, and we have to think. Even in distressing circumstances, I believe all of us, because this is a material world, this is a world of suffering. The Adhyatmika Klesha, Adibodhika Klesha, Adidevika Klesha. There's 3 points coming from the Devi, is always pushing us, and we are feeling suffering either physically or emotionally. And when we are situated in distressing circumstances, what is our natural reaction? We would feel miserable. Maybe for days we cannot function anymore. Sometimes we have such kind of a challenge. Maybe our leader doesn't understand us. Maybe due to the immaturity of some group leaders, some local yatra leaders, or maybe because of some immature, like peer devotees, we feel like maybe some negative reactions from others. Maybe you feel, oh, they're jealous of me and they're giving me pressure and they try to stop me from doing something. But same challenges must be faced. Guru Maharaj must be also facing all kinds of challenges. We can see from the practical examples that some initiating gurus in Iskcon, they used to spend a certain amount of time each year to have some kind of retreat. They would take some Ayurvedic treatment, or they would go someplace like a resort and they would completely relax themselves. Otherwise, they cannot function. But Guru Maharaj ever did that? No. And even some of them, like very powerful, very strong, like stalwart, like pillars, that kind of pure devotees, like initiating gurus, we found out sometimes they would say, okay, from now, I have too much. I have to stop. I have to stop responding all the correspondence from my disciples. I decided I would stop initiation for 2 years, 3 years, or maybe 5 years. It's not uncommon for us to see this. And we can understand why they are facing like this, because it's really challenging, truly challenging. And so we ourselves also facing some kind of challenges like this. But when such thing happened, what can we do? We have to take examples from Guru Maharaj, because we're so fortunate we have such a great spiritual father that he never showed weakness like this. And how he overcome everything. He has this deep connection with his Guru Maharaj. He's always thinking, how can I fulfill this mission? So let's think about how Kamsa has one minister, his name is Akura, how Akura is dealing with Kamsa every day. He's a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but he tolerated to stay with Kamsa. And we have to think about Bhishma Dev. He is also a very great devotee. And in Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 1, Srila Shukadev Goswami, we can see he even spent a lot of verses to describe Bhishma Dev's passing away, going back to Godhead. Srila Vyasadeva gave completely one chapter dedicated to the glorious departure of Srila Bhishma Dev. What we can learn, Bhishma Dev, every day he has to face Duryodhan, he has to face Yudhishthir. So we cannot find any excuses. Will we analyze what kind of things we can learn from Guru Maharaj, and whatever challenges we're facing is not so much. That's why we gain faith and we gain strength from Guru Maharaj. And we can also use a modern psychological term to explain this. This is called neural mirror effects. Because there's so many kinds of neurons. Neurons are like very, very small units of the nervous system. And the nerves in this system, all these like mirror neurons, they can reflect what we feel around us. That's why your devotional service, we so much emphasize the association of the pure devotees. We have to associate with those advanced devotees. Why? When we associate with them, their association would give us whatever they have attraction for Krishna, for serving, for Guru. We will feel that attraction. That is the raga mentioned by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we will get the same kind of emotional resonance from them. And when we feel that same emotional resonance from them, we would think to imitate them. And we would also like to feel what they feel. We would also have a desire to experience what they're experiencing. Like in Bhagavad Gita 9.2, it is mentioned this whole bhakti yoga. This is Rajavedya Rajavedya. This means the king of knowledge. And Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam. This is supreme knowledge, and this is the secrets from all the secrets. This is the most confidential thing. And then it is mentioned by Krishna to his dear friend Arjuna that Pratiyakshavagamam susukam kartum avyayam. Why it said Pratiyakshavagamam means you can get realization, you can really feel it, you can experience it. You can, by direct experience, you know what is called self-realization. Therefore, it is called the perfection of religion and is joyfully performed. So we can see from Guru Maharaj what he's experiencing. Just recently, I think the 3rd of August, Radhakrishna Prabhu, he posted one message in Guru Maharaj's Vani group. He said, Guru Maharaj feels like a little better. And then he went to the pool and he was thinking how Panchatattva, Mahaprabhu, they have such kind of happiness and ecstasy, because when they are thinking how they can flood the whole world with love of Godhead, so they are feeling so much ecstasy. And when Guru Maharaj is thinking about Panchatattva's ecstasy, he cannot control himself, and he was laughing and laughing. I'm sure some of you may notice this message. So that is one platform, and at the same time, Guru Maharaj is feeling the pain coming from his leg, the infection coming from his leg. So Guru Maharaj is mentioning to us, so actually we can be situated, we can feel from the two platforms. From bodily platform, we are feeling so much pain, but we can transcend that much pain because we are feeling so much happiness from the spiritual level. So what I want to say is, from Guru Maharaj's example, we are feeling inspired, although we cannot get personal, like physical association, but we can feel the same mood by reading his messages again and again, by meditating his messages again and again, and also putting his instructions on our head as our worshipable deity. And even in our dreams, we have to dream about in what way, in which means, in which method we can fulfill Guru Maharaj's instructions. Maybe we're only getting some general instructions, but even those general instructions can be fulfilled in a very detailed way. You can think about it. And that time you feel that connection, because that connection, if you want to feel the special connection, you have to do something extraordinary. You have to do something special to attract Krishna's Chit Shakti. And that Chit Shakti has the chit itself, the cognizance part, and also has this Haladini Shakti part. Then you would feel that connection. And then you would stop. Stop what? Emotional rumination. What is called emotional rumination? We know that cows, they eat something during the day and they have more than one stomach. So at nighttime, they again take out whatever they took during the day and they start to redigest. So sometimes we are also like that. I don't know how many devotees would, no need to answer me, but ask this to yourself. I am like that before, but now I'm trying to stop that by thinking of Guru Maharaj. That means whatever we experienced, then we again vomit and we start to swallow it again, and we start to digest, analyze it again and again. Oh, yesterday such a thing happened. I just mashed everything. I'm so stupid. I'm so foolish. I'm such an idiot. How can I say something like that? How can I behave like that? Or how can this person is treating me like this? How he's looking at me with his eyes, and how he can say or she can say such thing to me, how they can do such a thing to me. So in our mind, we're thinking about this again and again. We are thinking about this past. We're again and again digesting whatever already happened. And this way would cause us to have a lot of psychological internal frictions. And such kind of psychological internal frictions would suck up our energies, and we become like energyless, and we don't have the desire to put all our effort to perform our devotional service, to invest in our sadhana. And sometimes we are doing this emotional rumination for the future. For example, oh, next week I have to do something. I have an exam. What about if I completely screw up the exam? What about if I said something wrong, I forgot something, and I screw up the whole presentation? Then we again and again think about it. Actually, nothing happened. Nothing happened, but you are thinking about this already 1,000 times, 2,000 times. Our times are wasted. And such kind of negative emotion can hijack our inspiration and enthusiasm to perform devotional service for Guru and Gauranga. You think about this. I would like to again read this Sloka 1.2.114. A devotee should not feeling miserable and not performing degrading acts in distressing circumstances. Because sometimes we would even perform some degrading acts. We are feeling so much discouraged, and we start to play with our phone. We're looking through all kinds of things. Who knows what kind of things would jump up, and that thing would leave another new samskar. And that would lead us in a future direction not favorable to our devotional service. How to feel the connection, starting from now. Although it seems like now we're a little bit far from Bhava, this smallest complete unit for love of Godhead, but we can start from the fractions. We can start from Shraddha, we can start from Sadhu Sangha, we can start from Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. We can start from all of this. And at any time, we must remember, don't get make ourselves involved in kind of extreme emotions. Otherwise, we lost our enthusiasm for bhakti. When we start to commit ourselves for initiation, we have to understand this is a very serious commitment. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami is quoting from 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In that chapter, one of the Navayugandras is instructing Maharaj Nimi. They're explaining that initiation means now you give up all your sense gratification. Now you have to have this kind of gravity to commit yourself to take the instructions of your guru, your spiritual master, and you have to find all kinds of ways, methods to fulfill that instructions. Hare Krishna, I'm sorry, time passed so quickly. So maybe 1 or 2 minutes I can take some comments, corrections, and questions. Hare Krishna, yes.
Please.
Oh, please, Akshay Gursundar Prabhu, you would like to?
Yes, Mataji, thank you. So there are questions from Latika Gorangi Mataji. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. And you can
Hare
also
Krishna,
pause the video
Mataji.
so that Mataji also can see. Yeah.
Pranam, please accept my humble obeisances. Mataji, you just said that we should avoid taking decisions maybe during, or we should control ourselves during extreme emotions. But when it comes to practicality, it is very difficult. Because of my mentor, she always guides me whenever I am very upset or whenever I'm very happy. She just, she just helps me to, don't take any action at that time. But how to control it by myself? What are some steps? Please kindly enlighten me on this.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Latika Gorangi Mataji. Your question is very valuable and it's very relevant. So this is a question about to remold our mental faculty. It's like remold our way of thinking and it's taking steps. That's why we can notice that in our daily sadhana, there are so many steps. Starting from Mangala Arti and chanting, there's so many small steps. We cannot change ourselves completely overnight because all this like default mode networking is this whole thing. We have this completely bad emotional operating system, like a very bad, out of date computer operating system. How to change it? Not overnight. We have to make the change little by little. And even we can back up with evidences and methods from the modern neuroscience and the psychologist point of view. They said how to change our way of thinking, how to change our way of doing things, of reacting, is by very little habit. The very little habit means you do something very little today. And just like a path in the forest. In the forest, there's no path. But if every day and a certain number of people are walking on the same direction, slowly, it's like we have a new passageway. It's like before our conditions like short circuit condition. As soon as something happened, we are jumping up, we become so sad and so angry. We are controlled and hijacked by these extreme emotions. But now we understand. We have to let the small steps of our devotional service to take us over. At that time, maybe you find out what would work for you. For me, it's like immediately start to remember a Sanskrit shloka because you have to put all your energy into it. You have to completely forget what's happening. Then you can become concentrated in this Sanskrit shloka. And I ask my students to do the same thing. Some of them feeling like chanting is more powerful, or reading is more powerful, or maybe discussing with a friend is more powerful. Why? Because when you are in this default mode, your whole system, because the whole system is scientifically built by Krishna, the whole system built in such a way that when we are acting out of our instinct, it's our whole sympathetic nervous system is working. And we would be immediately jumping into a kind of extreme emotion. At that time, we first name it. Oh, I'm angry. Now I have so much fear. I am so nervous. Why? When we start to think about this, we are not using that sympathetic nervous system. We are jumping to another system. We are using our central cerebral cortex. And this part of our brain system, the mental faculty, would remove us from that irrational reaction into some rational thinking. So we can stop by this kind of interruption. By naming your feelings, we can just interrupt. We develop into further extreme emotions, and we're even taking actions toward that direction. You name it. Okay, I am now fearful. I'm now angry. I'm now very sad. And then what to do next? You also make some cards or maybe some list. Whenever such thing happened, yes, you should pause. But what you will do during this pause period is not just breathe. You do something else. You do something to change. You change your whole nervous system to this instinct, sympathetic nervous system to parasympathetic system. When you are starting, you initiate this parasympathetic system. At that time, you are starting not you're acting out of your amygdala. This is you're causing you a lot of fear and anxiety, like a fighter mode. It's like autopilot mode. Now you have to take over, and when you name it and you start to do something like reading the book, like studying a scripture or studying one text, or even talking with some devotee friends. At that time, what you are doing, you are engaging your another part of your brain faculty. It is actually called the prefrontal cortex. And this prefrontal cortex has some very important functions. It would help you to control your impulse. It would regulate your emotions. And it would help you to have some rational thinking. But it's not overnight we can do this. We have to little by little build our new way. Think about it. How many times you have to walk on this forest direction, then you can build a new way. Many, many times. So even Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj mentioned that Srila Prabhupada, he himself mentioned, it took him 20 years to achieve the perfection of chanting Hare Krishna. So we should not be discouraged. We have to think about, okay, today I did 1%, and tomorrow I can do 2%. And slowly, you would feel this change. If you really want, you try for 2 to 3 weeks, you can see the difference. I tried myself, and I told my student they also tried. Hare Krishna, thank you. Is that okay? Latika Gaurangi Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, thank you for your time and for such wonderful insights, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So now Sri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji, right?
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji. All glories to Guru Maharaj. It was very nice to hear from you, Mataji. I had a couple of questions. Basically, you were telling that you have to develop Bhava Bhakti, right? You should at least come to the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Recently, I've been attending these Madhurya Kadambini classes, and something has bewildered me. Mind is stuck onto that verse that Bhakti is self-manifesting. Whatever you do, sadhana, but it's not necessary. Even if you're not attracted to anything, the person who's least attracted to something or who has most detachment also will not get bhakti. Only by the costless mercy of a uttama adhikari or madhyama adhikari he can get bhakti. But Guru Maharaj, he has 70,000 disciples, and people like me, we have no access to him at all. So how do I get that costless mercy? Just by following his instructions? Because even if I read, if after I got to know that bhakti is self-manifesting, despite doing shravanam, despite doing kirtanam, it's not going to manifest, then it is very disheartening. So I wanted to know about that from you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very interesting question. So we have to analyze. We have to analyze that how we can achieve the state of Bhava. It is really true. At the Bhava state, you can get a glimpse of Lord Krishna himself. And when Krishna would give you a glimpse about himself, only when he's willing. So in this sense, we can say it's like a gift. For example, if now I go to Sri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji's door, I would say, I have a PhD degree. Please open the door. I want to eat at your house. And you think, what's wrong with you? And then again, I said, please open the door. I have 1 million in my bank account. No, you won't care about it. Only when you feel you like me, then you would open the door unconditionally. So in one sense, this is really a kind of mercy. It's a gift from Krishna. But in another sense, in which way we can attract Krishna's attention to bestow such mercy upon us? That is only by bhakti. That's why Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj is so much emphasizing this bhakti. Why Guru Maharaj is showing us the example that even he is so sick, like few days ago, continuing for 2 days, even with oxygen cylinder. And he's going to temple, he's taking darshan because he wants to show this example. So we have to understand, according to Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada explained to us, we have to perform our sadhana bhakti. And when we perform our sadhana bhakti, we can attract Krishna's mercy. It's not guaranteed 100%. Okay, for 20 years, I've been following the 4 regulative principles. For 50 years, I've been chanting 16 rounds every day. So I must get this. It's not like that. But we have to understand Krishna is also a person, and he has feelings, he has hearts. And if he knows we are doing this, Anya Bilashita Shunyam, Jnana Kamardina Vritam, he knows we are performing this to please him, he would reciprocate. You would now we are not feeling big reciprocation, but we feel little reciprocation, right? For example, now we're discussing all this. At least we're feeling little happiness. We're feeling little interesting. Why we get this kind of feeling? Because of Krishna's presence. Krishna said, whenever devotees are discussing my pastimes, about the knowledge about me, and then I would be personally present. Actually, even Guru Maharaj Shakti would also be present here, right now. But how much we can feel his presence, that depends our sincerity. That depends on maturity of our spiritual realization. So if we intensify our sadhana, if really we tried our best, why Krishna not opening the door? I cannot impress Sri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji with my bank balance or my material degrees, but I can impress her, I can touch her heart by my sincere devotion. If every day I give her 1 flower, if every day whatever Mahaprasadam I can get, I share with her. Please, I really promise this. If you are coming to Mayapur, please contact me. I will share the deity's Mahaprasadam with you. If I continue to do this on a daily basis, so just like Krishna is saying us, every day we are taking much effort. Today I have fever, still I make it. I make it to take a bath and go for Mangala Arti. Today I have a headache, and still I made it. I attended the Bhagavatam class. As Krishna saw our sacrifices, and then Krishna would open the door. He would bestow us a mercy. Actually, the end of this Madhura Kadambini, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he mentioned that at the end of your life, that actually the whole life Krishna has been watching you. How many times, in order to serve him in love, you tolerated other people's like unfair treatment to you, and how many nights you are staying up for chanting his holy names, and how many things you have been tolerating to serve him with your love and devotion. At the end, Krishna would reward us. Krishna would reciprocate us by holding our hands and leading us go back to Godhead. So it's not that this is not going to happen. And I noticed some of my students, they stay very remote area in a small village, and they have some miracles happened in their life. So I realized Krishna and Guru Maharaj so merciful. For the near devotees, for the near servants, they may see Guru Maharaj every day, but still it is possible for them to be covered by a very thin layer of Maya. Like even Mahaprabhu, he has some servants, and the servants cannot recognize his position. But for some devotees who has this great feeling for Guru Maharaj, maybe whole life, actually it is true in my country, some of the disciples whole life they cannot get a chance to see Guru Maharaj face to face. Does that mean they would never achieve perfection in their spiritual life? That means we're like saying that Srila Prabhupada's process is not working. Srila Prabhupada's process must be working. That's why Guru Maharaj is showing us the example. Guru Maharaj is rarely mentioning something like miraculous things. Actually, I prepared something, but then I feel it's like alert from Guru Maharaj Krishna. I should not talk about so many like supernatural things. I should give more examples from down to earth, from the books, the lectures, whatever we could access. And then I guarantee you would yourself, you would feel that internal connection. Something miraculous would happen in your life. And you could feel you're more and more connected with Krishna, and you have such confidence. At the end of the life, Krishna won't like leave you alone and not bothering. He would take you, maybe by his hand. My mother is such an example. I'm sorry, I suddenly remember my mother in 2023. I don't know. Akshay Sundarprabhu, am I violating the rules? I'm already 14 minutes over.
No, Mataji, like if you have time, you can continue. Up to you, Mataji.
Hi, Krishna, thank you. My mother, actually, she doesn't got much Guru Maharaj's personal association. She just listening to Guru Maharaj's class. Even she stayed in Mayapur for 3 years. Then in 2023, she was diagnosed with cancer. And I sent her to Calcutta. And after 2 open abdomen operations, both failed. And then the doctor told me, please prepare for she's going to die, and please prepare for palliative care. At that time, what I did, I'm thinking my mother gave birth to me, how I serve her, how I serve my god sister, because she's also Guru Maharaj's initiated disciple. I'm thinking I'll continue even the hospital translating the morning class and the evening class, and so I continued all the services. And the day before my mother's 3rd operation, the day before Guru Maharaj was giving Bhagavatam class in the temple, I was translating that class, and my mother, half class, she's like half fainted or fell into sleep. And after I just finished translation of Guru Maharaj's class, she woke up with tears in her both eyes, and she said, I dreamed of Guru Maharaj coming into this room in the hospital in Calcutta, and Guru Maharaj carrying my hand and saying, please come with me. I will show the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please come, please come. And my mother is even complaining, Guru Maharaj, why are you running so fast? I cannot follow you. And that day, afternoon time, the last checkup for my mother to prepare next day's operation, I really don't know what's going to happen. I have to prepare. Maybe she would leave her body on this operation table, the operation theater. But that afternoon, something miraculous happened. The doctor, the surgeon who's going to do the operation, actually, he has no plan to come, but he feels so much worried. And he came, and he found out all the problems solved. And he said, after the checkup in the afternoon, he said, after a few days, you can prepare to be discharged from the hospital. It's like a miracle, completely by Guru Maharaj's mercy. Of course, there's so many detailed things happened, but I want to say is something could happen. And Guru Maharaj saved my mother's life. And even we are far, my mother never directly talked anything to Guru Maharaj, but she did one thing. Every day, she complete her 16 rounds for herself. Because she loves Jananivas Prabhu, she also never talked directly with Prabhu. She would chant 16 rounds for Jananivas Prabhu. And she would chant 16 rounds for Guru Maharaj, for his well-being. And she would chant 16 rounds for next day. She's only thinking, if tomorrow I die or become sick, I cannot complete my round. So today I finish for tomorrow. And so every day she's doing like that. And some miracle happened on her. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Madhavi Mataji, do you have a quick question? And we're really late. We're really getting late.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a wonderful class and sharing so many wonderful experiences and realization. Mataji, as you were explaining your mother experience, and you were also helping your mother, to remember Guru Maharaj and Krishna. But like sometimes we are also having so many. People around us who are not very favorable, who are not interested in bhakti, and they are connected with us somehow or another way. How can we be compassionate towards them? And maybe they are not ready to accept it, but still, as Guru Maharaj says that it is, give Lord Chaitanya to everyone, and to give you know Krishna to everyone. So like, how can we actually help them, and being compassionate towards them?
Hare Krishna, thank you, Madhavi Mataji, for this practical question. I would explain briefly. According to whatever I learned from Guru Maharaj's class, when Guru Maharaj is giving class about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he mentioned how Bhaktivinoda Thakur is dealing with this problem. So we have to have some discerning ability. We have to understand those people are connected with us, what kind of attitude they have. If they're completely inimical, and the only way we can give them mercy is by neglecting them. Understand this point. The only way to give mercy to those inimical people connected with us is by neglecting them. What does it mean? That means you neglect them, you don't deal with them, you don't interact with them, so they cannot make further offenses. In this way, you are giving mercy to them. At the same time, you can pray for them. For innocent people, innocent person, they are just engaged in some sinful activities, unfavorable activities due to their ignorance. You can try to enlighten them slowly. Don't give too much dose at one time. Maybe starting from prasadam to someone who may be skeptical, like they're in between from this most inimical person and in between from this innocent persons. Some skeptical persons, we also start by giving them prasadam and we pray for them. By praying for them, and they will get this benefit. Maybe we're thinking, oh, it's useless, but it's useful. It is really useful. Recently, I heard one class by Radhesham Prabhu. He mentioned a very new research in America. They proved that when you pray for someone, you change that person's brain wave, the working. That's why when Guru Maharaj, even in ICU, even in his just next to his bed, someone whole life is performing like sinful activities, eating meat and drinking and things like that. When they're going to leave body, Guru Maharaj is full of compassion. What Guru Maharaj did, pray for them. Please don't ignore the strength of prayers. At the same time, please make proper boundaries to yourself. You should not let anyone to do any damage to your sadhana. If you feel your sadhana is influenced, is interrupted by them, you have to set up the proper boundaries. You have to make sure that you do whatever you should do, and then you have extra energy, you do that one. Because it depends on our ability. If we are still in the neophyte stage, we are not so much strong. If you are giving too much, it's very easy you become influenced by others. So must keep yourself in the favorable circumstances by always under the guidance and association of other more advanced devotees. Hare Krishna. Hope this would be little helpful to you. Thank you everyone.
Yes,
Akshay
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Akshay Sundar Prabhu, please back to you.
No,
I'm really sorry for the delay.
no, thank you, Mataji. Like devotees were really inspired to hear from you. They were asking questions, and I can see still a lot of devotees out there. That means they all are very inspired. So thank you, Mataji, for.
Thank you. By the way, I saw all the messages in the chat box.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, so all the devotees are very inspired. Lalitangi Radha Mataji also mentioned such deep realizations from your pure heart touches ours. She's also very senior devotee. So thank you. So I think since no more question, I think we can conclude here, Mataji. So thank you, Mataji, for giving your valuable association to us and your valuable time. It was really inspiring, to hear, a mix of philosophy and pastimes. So, and then the questions in the end also very inspiring, especially like if we hear, some statements like when Mataji was mentioning, I forgot the name of the scripture she was talking about. I think Madhuri Kandamni. That
Yes.
no, okay, yeah. So the answer that you gave was very good, Mataji. So thank
Oh,
you.
by the way, sorry, I want to interrupt you 1 minute. I just saw one of my students, Nimai Pandit Prabhu, is online, and he opened his camera. Nimai Pandit Prabhu, how he became a devotee, because he was engaged in helping me to make daily posters for Guru Maharaj.
Oh,
Just by this one service, he developed so much love and faith for Guru Maharaj. And he's going to be Guru Maharaj's first Taiwan disciple.
oh,
Please shower your blessings upon him.
Hari Bol, Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna, Hare Bol.
It's wonderful to hear that, Mataji. So thank you, Mataji, for giving wonderful association. And on behalf of Iskcon Seshadripuram and all the assembled devotees, we want to thank Mataji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for wonderful class. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Dev Namo Namo. Gauri Vaishnava.